again.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is a purple and white gold halo eye. Haven't done a halo eye in forever, so I thought I would kind of bring them back to my channel because they're just so pretty, so easy to do, and so flattering. I just wanted to sit down and play with the new Tarteist Pro palette. So they came out with the eyeshadow palette, the contour palette, and yeah, I'll quickly show you guys the eyeshadow palette because it's really, really beautiful. I love the colors. There was just a ton of purples and pinks in here that I really loved. So I just kind of sat down and this is what happened and what I created. So I really hope that you guys enjoy this look. I will be doing a dedicated review video on both of those palettes soon, so keep your eyes peeled for that on my channel. I totally have lipstick all over my freaking teeth. If you guys want to see how I created this look, then please keep watching. Give this video, oh my god, I always say video with a B. I don't know why. If you guys like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. And I will see you guys in my next one. Alright guys, so first starting off with the Too Faced Shadow Insurance Primer. I never usually use this. If you guys have been following me for a while, you'd know I always use a MAC paint pot. But I just wanted to try something different today. I don't like that it doesn't cover the veins in your eyelids, so what I did was just take a little bit of concealer over top of that primer. Definitely not necessary, just use one or the other because it doesn't really matter too much. But yeah, I just wanted to try something different today. Then taking the new Tarteist Pro palette from Tarte, I'm just taking the shade Classic and I'm just using this to set my eyelid, make sure all the other eyeshadows that we put on top blend out really nicely, and this will just set down the concealer and stop patching and that sort of thing. Then taking the shade Chic, I'm just going to be placing this into the transition area of the eye just to start creating a little bit of warmth and a bit of depth into that area. And I do go in a few times building that up just with my Sigma E35 brush. It's just a really nice fluffy brush and it's perfect for the transition sort of area. And then I'm going in with the shade Innocent. It's just slightly darker than Chic and it's just a little bit more brown toned. And I'm just basically going in with this on my Sigma E25 brush. This one is a lot more tapered but it's still fluffy. So I'm just using that to get really precisely into the crease and just like make it a little bit more defined, and then going back in with that Sigma E35 brush just to make sure everything is seamlessly blended. Then taking the shade No Filter, I am just going to start creating our halo eye. So I'm just taking that same Sigma E25 brush. I usually use all the same brushes throughout my tutorials because I'm generally building up the color and not going back and forth between dark and light colors, so it doesn't really matter too much. There won't be like a lot of color overlap in the shadows, if you guys get what I mean. So yeah, I'm basically just taking that color into the inner and outer corners of my eyes, building up the depth because it was blending away quite a little bit. And then I just took my Sigma E40 brush, which is a clean brush, and I'm just blending it out into the crease area just to make sure everything is really nicely diffused. I'm then taking the shade Mod and I'm essentially just doing the same thing, just placing it over those areas where we place that purple shade. You could probably skip the purple step, but I just like to really layer my shades and just create like custom sort of tones in my eyeshadow looks. That way it's not like a flat color. And I basically just use that Sigma E25 brush to pack the shade on the inner and outer corners, and then that Sigma E40 brush to blend it out again. I'm then just going in with the shade Drama, which is like a really nice burgundy plum shade. And what I'm doing is taking it on my Sigma E30 brush. It's just a pencil brush and I'm using this to place it really precisely into the inner and outer corners of the eye, and then going back in with that Sigma E25 brush and I'm just going to slightly diffuse it. We're not really blending it out too much, we're just lightly making sure that there's like no harsh lines. And basically I just went back in with this a few times to build up the pigmentation and the color, and I used a little bit of that Mod color again, the pink, just to help blend it out and make sure everything was really nicely diffused and blended. Then going in with the shade Punk, which is just a black eyeshadow, just doing the same thing except I'm only doing it on the outer corner of the eye, again using that same Sigma E30 pencil brush and going back in with the E25 to blend it out ever so slightly, just because I wanted a little bit more drama in the outer corner of the eye. I then went in with the shades Ethereal and Glam, and I'm basically just placing those onto the center of the lid that we left bare, because this is a halo style of eye, so you really want to leave that center of the lid bare and then go in with like a nice bright shimmery sort of shade, or any shade that you pick really, and it's just really going to make it stand out, especially when you do like really deep dark tones in the outer corners. and then do like a really bright gold or something on the center. I think it just looks so nice. I used a little bit of Fix Plus as well to make sure those shadows showed up a little bit more. I then went in with my NYX Vinyl liquid liner. If you guys can't tell, this is like my favorite liquid liner at the moment. I really struggle with eyeliner. I don't know why. I'm just like, I get scared and I don't feel as confident doing like winged liner and stuff like that. So this NYX one is like my favorite because it just makes it really easy for me. And the lashes that I'm using today are the New Bounce Bella lashes. Oh my god, you guys, these are so freaking nice. You guys can use Kaseyrayton to get 25% off anything from New Bounce. And then I'm just moving on to the face. I'm using some Fix Plus just to hydrate my skin a little bit, and then I am going to match my face to my body because I have a little white face. So I'm just using the Tarte Rainforest of the Sea foundations in the shade Sand and Medium Tan Sand. Basically, I place the lighter shade on the center portions of my face and then the darker shade on the outer areas. It just adds a little bit more dimension to the face rather than having like a flat foundation shade. The brush that I'm using to blend out my foundation is actually the Sigma Bake Kabuki F89 brush. It's like the one that I'm obsessed with at the moment. I've been using it in all of my tutorials. You guys can use Kaseyrayton to get 10% off Sigma. So definitely check out that code if you're interested in picking anything up. But then I just used a sponge to blend over my face and make sure everything was blended out really nicely, and then I just went straight in and concealed. So today I was using the Tarte, I always go to say Shart, the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer in the shade Light Medium, and then just to brighten it up a little bit more, I took my Tarte Aqua Concealer in the shade Light, I think it is, and I just blended those out with that same Tarte little sponge as well. And then going in with the new Tarte Pro Contour Palette, I'm just taking the cream contour shade and essentially just contouring the areas of my face that I would like to be a little more chiseled, I guess. I also like taking the contour shade around my lips ever so slightly because I feel like it just makes them look the tiniest little bit more pouty. But you guys can obviously not contour or contour, whichever parts of your face that you want. It's just down to personal preference. Then to blend out those contoured areas, I'm using my Sigma Powder Sweep F06 brush. I really love this for like precise contouring. I feel like it just does the job for you, and it's really good for cream contouring as well because it doesn't make it all patchy and like lift up on your skin. So yeah, I'm just using that brush to blend it all out, and then I go in with that same beauty blender type of sponge just to make sure everything is really diffused and there's no harsh lines, and it's got a little bit of concealer and foundation left over on it, so I use it to help clean up underneath my contour as well, and it just kind of diffuses everything really nicely and naturally. I'm then just going in and setting my T-zone and under eyes with my MAC Mineralize Skinfinish in the shade Light. I really love this. I'm using it on my Sigma, what is this brush? This is the F64 Soft Blend Concealer brush. I really love this for setting my under eyes. I use it all the time. This is like the only brush that I really use on my under eyes. And then I'm just going back in with that Tarte Pro Contour Palette, and I'm just taking the powder sculpting contour shade, and I'm just like setting those areas that we contoured earlier just to make sure they don't really budge or move around and get patchy throughout the day. Then taking two of the shimmery shades from the Tarte Pro palette as well, I'm just adding these to the high points of my face just to add a general glow and shimmer, make my skin look a little bit more dewy because it was looking pretty matte at this moment. Then going in with some blush, I'm using the Tarte blush in the shade Sensual, I believe. I'll leave it linked down below for you guys, but I just really wanted something that was quite muted and soft and wasn't really going to take away from the eye look. Then moving on to the lower lash line, I'm taking the shade Whimsy. It's like a really nice warm terracotta sort of shade, and I'm just basically buffing that along the lower lash line. I just used those two Sigma brushes, the E35 and the E25, just to build that along the lower lash line and diffuse everything. And I also made sure that I made the outer corner of the eye meet up really nicely so we didn't have any like gaps or anything like that. And then I just took the shade Ethereal and on that little pencil brush, the E30, and I'm essentially just building that up along the lower lash line. I'm sorry I got out of frame for these close-up lower lash line shots. I always do this, I'm terrible. But yeah, I just wanted a really gold lower lash line, and then I just took the shade Glam for the inner corner, and I feel like it just really tied everything together and looked so pretty. And then for the lips, I went in with this Gerard Cosmetics Metal Matte Liquid Lipstick. These are their new Hydra mattes, but they're like metallic ones. They're so gorgeous. They launched on November 14th, I believe. I'll keep you guys updated in the description box. So they're not actually available just yet, but they are launching very, very soon. You guys can use Kasey to get 25% off anything from Gerard Cosmetics, or you can use Kasey3 for $38 to get any 3 Hydra mattes for $38. The one that I'm using here is actually in the shade Underworld, and it's just so stunning, and I'm obsessed with it. Anyway, that completes this look. I really hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. Leave me some comments down below of any videos you would like to see, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I'll see you guys in my next video. Hey, review, you guys, hated review gold, basically it. Lily Zorman. Dedicated review on Lily Zorman, the eyeshadow palette, and stop it, Lily! I will be doing a dedicated